Computer-generated chess problem 2728 by Chessatica. So white has a queen and a pair of bishops. Black has a queen, a bishop, knight, and a pair of pawns. Black is ahead in material. None of black's pieces seem to be under threat, and none of white's either. How should white proceed here? Maybe king to e3, but then black might try queen to c1 check, king to e2, queen to c6, threatening the bishop on g6, queen to b3. Now you might be wondering, why doesn't white defend against queen captures bishop? Well, because queen to f3 would be mate. So let's assume black sees that. Queen to b3 is actually intended to prevent queen to f3 check. So black might try for the exchange of queens with queen to e6. Queen captures queen, knight captures queen. And keep in mind that black has got two extra pawns here. So white is not really doing well. Bishop to e8, h2. Yes, one of those pawns is pretty close to promotion as well. Bishop to c6, in case you were wondering why bishop to e8 was played. Bishop to g7, king to f1, king to h3 is probably pointless because of bishop to g2, pushing the king back to g4. So maybe knight to d8, threatening the bishop. Bishop d5, maintaining control over the long diagonal. Bishop to e5, defending the pawn. King to g2, king to f5, getting out of the way, so the other pawn can march forward. Bishop to b3, now that the king guards the h1 square. Knight to c6, and white is defending, but he's on the defensive. Okay, let's take a look at another candidate key move here. What about queen to c2? Okay, black tries queen to g2 check, in a sense pinning the bishop as well. King to d4, the king escapes and creates a discovered defense on the queen. That is, the bishop on g6 now guards the queen on c2, and that means the bishop on f2 is unpinned. Queen to f3, king to c5, maybe knight to e6 check, king to d6. Black might try sacrificing the knight by moving to c7, king captures knight, h2, maybe queen to e4 check. Now white forks the king and queen, forcing the exchange. Queen captures queen, bishop captures queen, king to h3, bishop to e3, pinning the g-file pawn against the bishop. King to g3, bishop to h1, stopping the h-file pawn against advancing. King to h4, the white king that was distracted by the knight capture is now coming back by moving to c6. Bishop to g7, and this looks like a dead draw. You see, all black has to do is exchange the bishop and then two pawns against a lone bishop. That's a draw at best for white, because a lone bishop cannot checkmate the king and can barely stop the two pawns. In fact, black might win. So despite being slightly ahead in material here and having a pair of bishops, white has to play very well and very carefully not to lose. Okay, it doesn't look like either of those candidate moves that we just saw does anything much in this position. But there's actually a forced mate, and a quick one if you saw it. And here is the solution. Okay, if you saw this, bishop to h5 check, congratulations. Now very quickly, if knight captures bishop, queen to e6 is checkmate. But what if king captures bishop? The bishop has been sacrificed. Well, queen to f7 check, the king has to move back to g4, and now queen to f3 checkmate. Simple, isn't it? Wouldn't you be totally kicking yourself if you missed that in this position and ended up losing the game or even drawing? Hope you enjoyed this one. I know I did.
Chessthetica's Book of Chess Constructs, Volumes 1 through 5. Available on Amazon.